All right, we're ready. Jenny, whenever you're ready, this is your time, your space. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So just let me know when you can see it. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Great. Just give me a second. Okay, great. So I apologize. I do not speak Spanish, but I just want to start by saying thank you so much for inviting me to be here. And thank you to all of our prospective applicants for your interest in the program. And a huge thank you to Sandra and Ruth for organizing this and just providing all this incredible support to applicants. We really, really appreciate it. So my name is Jenny Parham, and I work for the Institute of International Education, or IIE. I work on our Fulbright program management team as a program officer. I work primarily with our sub-Saharan Africa region, and more recently have also started assisting our Western HIM region. So I'm really excited about that opportunity. As a program officer, I work primarily on the administrative side. So I work very closely with our Fulbright colleagues at our U.S. embassies on the ground in our partner countries, as well with our colleagues at the United States State Department. So I'm going to take a few minutes this evening to highlight IIE's role in administering the Fulbright program. And then I'm going to look more specifically at the Fulbright Foreign Student Program and the advising services that IIE provides to grantees once they're in the U.S. on their program. And I just want to point out, while I don't work specifically on our advising team, I'm confident that this presentation will help provide you with some context for IIE's role in advising during your Fulbright. So with that, let's get started. I'm going to try to move this, if I can figure out how to get this out of the way. Okay, so big picture, who are Fulbright program stakeholders? Who are the major players? I'm sure you have all heard of the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, or ECA. That's who sponsors the Fulbright program. We also have the Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board, which establishes broader policy guidelines for all sides of the Fulbright program. So for U.S. citizens going abroad, as well as citizens from other countries coming to the U.S. to study. Individuals, obviously such as yourself, who meet eligibility requirements, apply to the Fulbright program through either our Fulbright commissions or our public affairs sections of U.S. embassies in their home country. And we refer to our embassy contacts a lot of times as POST. And then there is the Institute of International Education, which is who I work for. And we administer the program in coordination with ECA and our partners at the U.S. embassies. So who is the Institute of International Education? And I'll just refer to it as IIE moving forward because it's kind of a mouthful. So IIE was established in 1919. We're a global nonprofit designed to implement international education strategies and programs. We have 200 plus programs. So Fulbright is only one of the programs that we administer in coordination with these other partners. In addition to administering programs, We also, with the support from donors, create initiatives, our own initiatives that assist students and scholars whose work and lives have been threatened. You might have heard of the Scholar Rescue Fund. The Odyssey Scholarship is a more recent initiative that IIE has started. Just kind of looking at some numbers so you can get an idea. IIE has over 600 staff worldwide. We have 17 offices and affiliates. Some of those are in the US and we have other offices around the world as well. And we have over 29,000 program participants. Obviously, that's not just Fulbright, that includes all of our programs. So a fairly large organization. So this evening, I kind of want to focus on IIE in context with the Fulbright Foreign Student Program specifically. So we administer the program in conjunction with two other administering agencies, which I think we'll hear from later. And we do this on behalf of the US Department of State. We administer the foreign Fulbright program in regions across the world, as I've already mentioned. And we're the longest running administrative agency and started administering the program in 1946. Again, here are some numbers on the student program. We welcome over 4,000 foreign student Fulbright grantees from around the world each year, from over 160 countries, and typically they're placed within the US at institutions and universities in all 50 states. So as I'm sure you're aware, the Fulbright Foreign Student Program in particular is very complex, from the application process to the selection process, to placing students at universities, and finally to in-program support once you're in the US. So this evening, I'm just going to focus on the advising component. So once you're in the US, how is IIE involved with advising? So who is your IIE advisor? It's a great question. They're really your main point of contact for personal, academic, and visa sponsorship issues. So anything falling within those topics, you can be in touch with your IIE advisor about. Typically, advisors are assigned regionally. So for example, let's say you're going to a university in New York. We have certain advisors assigned to just institutions in New York or that region of the US. So someone in New Mexico, a foreign student in New Mexico, will likely have a different IIE advisor than someone in a different part of the United States. So your IIE advisor is really here to help you when you're on program in the US. That might look like helping you achieve academic success. They may assist you with communicating with your university contacts. They're there to ensure that you're abiding by, Fulbright program policy and are in good standing with the program. In terms of what you should tell your advisor, if you have any personal concerns after your arrival, maybe you're experiencing some mental or physical health concerns, you can always and should always alert your IIE advisor about those. If you have any academic concerns, IIE loves to hear about our grantees' successes and accomplishments. So if you just have some good news or a picture from your time in the US, we encourage you to share that with your IIE advisor. And obviously, any questions related to your J-1 visa or travel during your program, you can reach out to your IIE advisor. So things can get a little complicated because once you're in the US and have a host university, you're also going to have some important contacts on the ground at your host institution. So your IIE advisor is there to discuss most topics with you, and you can reach out to them really for anything. But it's also important to note that your IIE advisor obviously isn't with you on campus. They're not with you in your day-to-day academic studies. So that's really what your academic advisor is for. And they are separate from the Fulbright program and IIE and are affiliated obviously with your host institution. And they're really there to help you plan your academic program, monitor your progress, and answer any kind of technical questions related to your study plan while at the institution. Similarly, grantees also are assigned a foreign student advisor on their host university campus. So again, this person is affiliated with your host institution and not with IIE. And they're there to kind of help connect you with the broader or larger international community, maybe answer questions you might have about living in the US, and generally just provide additional support to international and students and scholars on campus. So these are kind of the three major players in terms of your support while on grant. You have your IIE advisor, your AA, your academic advisor, and your FSA. Before I move on, I did just want to kind of provide some more concrete examples of when you would reach out to your IIE advisor. So just keep this in mind. This is down the road, but there are certain things that you need pre-authorization to do, such as working on campus, traveling outside the US. If you're making major changes to your academic plan, you always want to make sure your IIE advisor is aware of these things. And in most of these specific cases, it will require them to send the request through for approval. And lastly, just keep in mind, you're going to receive a lot of information prior to the start of your program. And part of this will be a comprehensive email from your IIE advisor explaining kind of next steps in terms of what to do once you arrive in the US. They will provide you with information about your health benefits plan, how you will receive your first Fulbright payment, et cetera, et cetera. And they'll also provide contact information. I think the Skype part is a little outdated, but most IIE advisors will include in their signature, all of their relevant contact information if you need to reach out. So that's kind of just a brief intro. I would encourage you to visit Fulbright online if you haven't already. There's a good list of resources. Some of it is password protected, so you won't have access until you're officially selected as a Fulbrighter. But it kind of provides a good intro to the program. And with that, do we have any questions? I'm sure there are lots of questions.
Jenny, thank you so much. Sandra, should we stop the recording now?
Well, thanks for having me here tonight. I'm Isola Spence. I'm the Fulbright Program Manager at LasPal. I work essentially with all areas of the program with this application that you're all working on right now. And then once you're selected, I oversee the placement process, the university placement process. And then afterwards, the advising part, once you're in your academic program, typical of what Jenny was talking about. And it is confusing, LasPal and IIE, and what's the difference. So again, LasPal administers the Fulbright Faculty Development Program, where you are being nominated by a university, a higher ed institution in Paraguay. And then we also administer the Fulbright becarios program. And then IIE administers the Foreign Student Scholar Program, which is a more general program. So LasPal and Fulbright, the Fulbright program. I'm sharing the right screen, right? Yeah. So LasPal has worked with Fulbright since 1975. We administer Fulbright scholarships available specifically for those from Latin America and the Caribbean. So we just focus on Latin America and the Caribbean. Most of our staff does speak Spanish, especially the advisors. Once you're in your program, oftentimes the communication is in Spanish. Many of the scholarships are for university professors and researchers who want to pursue a master's or doctorate in the US. And then we also work with foreign cost share partners to offer other Fulbright scholarships as well, such as the becarios program. And each year, about 200 master's and doctoral candidates come to the US under the Fulbright and LasPal sponsorship. So what is LasPal's role in the scholarship? So LasPal will manage the Fulbright application process, secure admission to a US graduate program, and monitor progress once enrolled in the US program. So we help to coordinate the Fulbright application process, including to evaluate and assist with the selection of the candidates, and LasPal participates in the interviews. So if you're applying to our programs right now, you are visiting our website, you're on our application, uploading documents, answering questions. If you come upon any technical issues or have any questions, you should be reaching out to LasPal directly. We're happy to help. Generally, we respond very quickly, and you can write in Spanish or English. We're happy to arrange, respond in whatever is most comfortable to encourage you to apply. And then once the applicant is selected, so usually interviews are over the summer, and then by September, we've finalized the nominees, we call them. The applicant would be assigned to a placement specialist at LasPal, and the candidate would work one-on-one with a placement specialist to apply to US universities and to secure admission to a graduate program. And then once admitted and enrolled in a graduate program, the LasPal program advisor will work with the student throughout the academic program to answer questions and offer general support. So the university placement process is it's similar to IIE, but a little different. So if eventually you are selected and you are talking to your friends who are administered by IIE, you'll see that there are some differences. LasPal works one-on-one with the candidate. We work with evaluate your statement of purpose and CV and provide suggestions. And this will be for the university application process. So after you're selected. So not now. Now I know you're preparing your statement of purposes and CVs and uploading them for the Fulbright application. But after you're selected, we'll provide some suggestions on how to improve your statement of purpose and CV for your university applications. And then we'll take into consideration the programs you've suggested on your application. And then we'll work together to decide on 5 universities to apply to on your behalf. Placement specialists are well-versed in specific fields of study and are familiar with university programs that match grantees' interests. So if you have a specific field, we generally know in the US where there are programs that match your background and your skills, to know where you're likely to be admitted, and then also funding. If you're familiar with the funding from each of your scholarships, they're not comprehensive. So we work with the university to, as a cost share partner, to make the program scholarship a complete package. So generally, we ask the university to cover the tuition, and oftentimes they provide a stipend if necessary. So LasPal is working with the university as well on your admission and also negotiating tuition support. So even after you submit the application, we're in touch with them, making sure all your documents are submitted for the application, make sure everything is understood. We also process all the admission documents. So you don't have to submit an original transcript to all 5 of the programs. You submit those to LasPal, and then we create an application dossier is what we call them, and we send that to the universities, and they accept our versions rather than you having to get 5 different original transcripts. So an important part is LasPal's relationship with U.S. universities. We've been placing students in academic programs for 50 years. This experience allows us to know which universities offer Fulbrighters tuition funding, which will be likely to offer admission, and which are good matches for grantee research interests. You know, oftentimes if you do a Google search for a master's in public administration, the top 10 programs are going to come up on your first search. You really want to go beyond that first page of Google and see other programs. There's, I don't know the exact number of higher ed institutions there are in the United States, but there are many universities that have high quality programs. So we really try to work with you to open your eyes and help you realize how many programs there are out there. And then our contacts at universities know we send strong applicants, and this certainly helps in the application process. We can advocate for you. If your English is on a lower level, we can talk to them and help them realize that, you know, that's not going to be long-standing. Once you're here and improve your English skills, you'll be able to complete your academic program. So we're really an advocate in the process. And then here's a few of the U.S. universities where we've just finalized the 2022 cohort. We've just placed about 180 students, and this is just a few of the universities that we've placed just this year: Colorado State, Duke University, Florida International. I mean, you can read all these. They're all over the U.S. and they're varied. Many are public institutions, some are private. The public institutions tend to offer more tuition funding than the private institutions, but we do have some good partnerships. Rice University is a great one. Duke was very generous this year to our Fulbrighters, but there's many other universities that we place students. So once you're here in the US, you're assigned to a Laspal program advisor, and we serve as your sponsor for your immigration documents. And then as you're here, we continue to update those documents with any change of address. If you're traveling, we update that information. We also disperse grant funds to grantee directly if you're getting a stipend from your scholarship, or if your scholarship covers university payments, we would pay those directly to the university. And then, of course, we monitor grantees' academic progress and provide reports to post to the embassy and also to the Department of State in Washington. And then we're also just an overall support as the student is in their program. If any issues come up, we are happy to determine how we can better support students. So that's the gist of what LasPal's role in the Fulbright Scholarship. Let me stop sharing my screen and see, we can, I guess Jenny